Hello guys and welcome to another legendary stream right here on Twitch. Slow welcome in, hope you're doing nice, fantastic, and congrats on being first. Hope your Friday's been great so far and that you have an amazing start into the Saturday, into the weekend. It's gonna be an insane weekend. Oh my god. But first things first, I had a crazy week where on Monday I figured out that I actually failed the statistics course. Why? I don't know, but whatever. And then the retry exam was on Thursday. So I basically had, well, kind of 3 full days to study that again. I'm pretty confident I did it actually. So, yeah, I'm just waiting for the results. I have to wait until the 30th of March to get the results, but it's whatever. And also, during that 3 days, I actually cranked out another tracker release that we're quickly going to have a look at. It's relatively small, but I cranked out another tracker release. I worked on the video. I got started on one of the bigger, or I started to get help on one of the bigger templates. You guys might have seen it on the Discord. Shout out to Rodney actually as well, and Coach Che for getting the ball rolling on like a very big portion of something related to the tracker. I don't want to get into details now for those that are unfamiliar, but basically that's something I cannot do on my own, and I'm starting to get some help from the people of the community, which is so awesome. So I've been doing so much this week, despite having only 3 days to study for an exam. Yeah, but if I managed to do that exam, that was actually like the most time efficient I've ever been in my life. Anyways, guys, before we dive into Uncharted and Dying Light today, I want to briefly get a quick look at the new tracker features that I have implemented. It's honestly very, very straightforward. And I'll quickly show you guys what the release has. So this is version 1.2.0. I've already decided to make it 1.2 because hopefully this will be the version that either starts work on co-op or does a lot of template related stuff. So it will be a major version later down the line now. And it's kind of the version that had these settings changed. So I think it's a pretty big deal, which is why I went with 1.2 instead of increasing 1.2, 1.1.3, whatever. I think you guys get the gist. Okay, I'm gonna... Can I just move this? Redo, then we'll open it from here. Beautiful, beautiful. That's quickly want to show because I thought about it and I kind of want to have like some of these devlogs that I'm doing right now to also be linked on the main tracker page, because obviously as I start introducing new concepts, new functionalities to the tracker, the actual video that is also pinned on top of the chat right now, the actual video will be more and more outdated. That's just how things go. But I quite frankly don't think I'm gonna make like a main channel video on this tracker anytime soon, as that will just take so much work and it has to be like something really, really big for me to even consider it. And I just don't see why I would do that, because it has to really have some quality standards. But yeah, the point is, this is version 1.2.0. because it starts with these reordered settings tabs, right? And I'm quickly going to pull up the release notes as well, just to fully be sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah, exactly. It's constantly changing, because even today, I received some more ideas, because one of the big goals now is to streamline, for people that have been following the Discord know this anyways, but my big idea now is to streamline the communication between data packs and Advancedly, or mods and Advancedly, or even mod packs and Advancedly. I might be going pretty far with this one, but I mean, I'll continue working on it and this thing is going to get insane. But basically, I want to automate the process of getting advancements from the things that I just mentioned, data packs, mods, mod packs, and also fetch the icon textures and maybe even render them. So things will get insane, but I want it to be as easy as possible to get templates done. I'm far from this, but there's a lot I've planned with templates. Also, like allowing to merge different templates, allowing to easily update a template based on missing advancements. There's a lot that should be possible. And yeah, I'm not going to get into details now because that'd be a big problem. I initially was planning on like working on co-op mode, which is why it says coming soon here. But I think that will be pushed back a little bit because the template stuff might actually take priority right now, or will take priority. But yeah, quickly showing you guys the release right here. Also, a big point is it brings back the Hermes live tracking, which is obviously a pretty big deal. One comment on that: if you guys go to my Discord on the pinned link in the Advanced League channel, there's actually a small hotfix. It's the same version though. It's actually a small hotfix to Hermes because I've noticed that basically when you pick up too many bee nests in an all advancements run, the individual bees have so much data in them, or like the individual bee nests with the bees have so much data in them that the individual line with those bee nests got so long that Advanced League couldn't reach past it. It was basically like an 8 kilobyte limit. And basically that hotfix changes it so it reads in chunks until it finds the end of the line. So it basically allows for lines to be infinitely long, more or less. And this is a huge deal. So actually this version of Hermes here is slightly broken if you have too much inventory data. But it usually shouldn't matter. But if you run into that, the Discord version has it currently. I didn't want to do another release for just that one thing. I think it's relatively minimal because a lot of people don't use Hermes anyways. But yeah, Hermes is fully back. You guys can see that in the settings here. Obviously, the settings fully sorted now. You have the buttons at the bottom here all the time. It should be a lot easier to find stuff. UI visuals, all the menu stuff is separate. Let's drag this down. Then overlay, if you enable all the settings show here, if you disable, like this is way more user-friendly, because back in the day, when you click enable overlay, these settings would just kind of pop up all over the place. Now it's a lot more straightforward that like you have to enable it, then you can adjust it. This coming soon, obviously. And also this is a big deal, because a lot of you guys might not even know that there's hotkeys in the first place, because they would show at the very end of these settings. And so I put this text here: select the template with custom goals using target values different from 0 to adjust their hotkeys here. Basically what that means, if I quickly go to the test template here, right? I have custom goals in here. And basically custom goals with a target value of 0, those are, if I quickly switch to that template, right here to this test 1 template, hit enter. Oh yeah, also, I don't think I ever mentioned this, but Control S also allows you to apply the settings if you guys prefer, yeah, that. You can see this is the simple toggle, get a good view with a target value of 0. It's literally just, currently I'm not tracking a world, which is why it's like bugging out like this, but it's basically just a simple toggle. There's no count to it. And so I could switch this to auto detect, and then it would take, then it would be properly tracking. So whenever it bugs out like that, it's just because it can't find an instance. It would also, like, this would be grayed out. So if you switch, when it can't find an instance, it tells you that on the like instance folder thing as well. And obviously the count forever, as well as the count to 100, the count forever has the negative target value, -1, and count forever just has a positive value. So either you have a -1 or you have any positive integer, then you can select hotkeys, which now if I go into the settings, those hotkeys are here, right? So that's what this means. Basically, any target value different from 0, meaning it's a custom goal that requires a hotkey. You can configure that here. Let's say I do A, I apply. Now if I press A, obviously it's going to reset because I'm not tracking properly. If I open the instance, it's all going to work. But yeah, there we go. So that's how this works now. And especially because this is like in a tab, constantly visible, telling you how things appear in this tab. I think that's another thing that's very, very user-friendly. Good. So that's one thing I did. Hermes is back. The settings are organized now. You have the option to bundle the icon files into the template. And this is like one of the first steps towards the template stuff that I have planned. Also, okay, hope you don't have so fantastic, by the way. Fix the bug where Bina said he was in my... yeah. I mean, it is a general issue that lines longer than 8 kilobytes Advancedly couldn't get past. But it's really just the bness in like a regular all advancements run that add so much data to like an inventory slot type in the log. Yeah, that it's just really, really interesting. Because I gotta quickly explain this as well. ZertleTiff, a well-known streamer in the A community that I'm also like very, very frequently in touch with, because she is my most like avid tester of Advancedly, especially with Hermes now being fully allowed. She ran into Hermes like not working with Advancedly like 3 times now, and the last time she sent me over her worlds, sent me all the log files, and it took me a good while because I joined her world and it also didn't work for me. But I saw that the output in Hermes like was perfectly fine. I even talked to Duncan and everything, and he couldn't find anything. And so I knew, okay, it had to be with Advancedly. And then I stumbled upon the 8 kilobyte limit. Yeah, then it was a pretty easy fix from there, but that was like a bit of a tricky point to figure out. Should put it at the bottom, just like, yeah. I guess I could edit the release notes. It's not that big of a deal. Hopefully I'll have like a new version that adds a few more things by next week. I don't think it has super high priority. Like, and that's why I'm mentioning this here. I mean, on the main tracker page, you have the link saying join the Discord for unofficial releases. You know, there should be some incentive to doing so. So I'm actually gonna wait a little bit. And if you guys need the fix, like either raise an issue, I can answer that. Like if anyone actually runs into the issue, they can open an issue here on GitHub. Because I've very actively been, you can see 8 are closed. I've very actively been going through these. We've obviously had some pull requests. I've been going through these as well. So fully clear right now. So if you guys have any problems, they will be prioritized over any of the main features that I'll be working on. So that's always something. And if you guys have an issue with Hermes, I can answer it here as well and give advice. Okay, cool. Another thing, let's quickly go back to the release. It's not that much. Yeah, the bundling icon files. So basically, if I say like I take the regular all advancements template for 1.16, it's like the most popular one that people use right now, I can say export template. It opens a new pop-up that you can obviously move around. You can press enter, or you can like, oh, the cancel actually doesn't have a hover text. Oh, okay, wait, that's actually a quick thing that I'm gonna fix later. That's interesting. Cool that I'm noticing that. Export template cancel button hover text. Obviously, it's the same thing. Export, you can press enter. Cancel, you can press escape. When are we translating into other languages? As I said, I don't think that will happen, because only one person has requested that so far. I need a good portion of people to have a good reason for me to do that, because everything is fully hard-coded. Where's a good spot to show that? Maybe in settings. Yeah, settings. Because settings has the most text. Where do we have that? source, settings. You can see right here, all of these texts, actually this is like text based on different versions. I have that everywhere, especially in the settings. This is all fully hard-coded. Getting this out of this file into a separate file that is user configurable, hell no. I am not doing that. I am not doing that. No, I think with the main functionality of the tracker, you can ultimately just memorize what certain settings do, or you just try them out, because they'll always have like an immediate effect. I think there's enough ways for people that actually have no idea about English to translate. No, like I mentioned this, there's at least, like, I need a good amount of people with solid reason to come up to me and be like, can we have this translatable? And then I'll work on it. But this is so much work for something that I think is completely useless. Period. Because what matters is that the templates are translatable, and they fully are. Good. So you can now bundle the icon files, which basically, look at this, what it does. We go over here, we open the Explorer, we can obviously just say, hey, through the path templates, open the template folder. That's usually what I do to like immediately get to the path of where the template, or where the tracker is, because then you can just go back into resources. And I've currently saved it here. With Windows, we can actually open the zip file. That's Windows 11. That's actually kind of cool. That's one thing that's actually kind of cool. And so you can see all the icon files that are exclusively used within the template. You can see, like, this blocks folder obviously would have a lot more, but these are all the blocks that are used within the AA template that I just exported. And what this allows to do now is basically, if we say, hey, for whatever reason, I want to import this template again, double click, and I can say, this, by the way, automatically checks if it detects that there is an icons folder. But obviously you can uncheck it, but you can also recheck it. So let me do something that you shouldn't do when using the tracker. So don't do this. Let me switch back to here. Right? Now I'm gonna intentionally close the tracker, go into icons, and I will remove wooden pickaxe. I think this one. Delete. This is now deleted. The wooden pickaxe is now gone. I'm going to start the tracker again, and now you can see the wooden pickaxe is gone. The texture is gone, right? And now, if I were to import the template again that we just exported with the bundle, I can just say copy, confirm the import. You will immediately see upon, like, kind of moving the window around, that's when it reloads because of the window positioning. The pickaxe is back. And that's basically a nice way to kind of show that through that zip file that we just imported, all the icon files get put back into place. So yeah, that basically means modded templates, specifically for what MT is working on, modded templates actually have... Oh yeah, I noticed that the freaking thing below the face cam looks off right now. That modded templates now have the ability for the icon files to go with it. That's super, super huge. Alright, last thing. That should already be the last thing. And that is a big deal that goes further towards making it as easy as possible to make templates. I obviously worked on a lot of templates for all of the various versions. And what I personally found the most annoying was, obviously, I imported the advancements all at once, or all the achievements, and then I sorted them exactly how they are in the tab. And one of the most annoying things I had to deal with was... Okay, I'm actually going to get rid of this now. Was that the sorting. It's still not perfect. Like, obviously, you can do the drag and drop thing for the sorting, but it's just kind of annoying. So especially for the first time when you import like advancement stats, custom goals, whatever, you can see these badges here. They're everywhere. you can then basically click the badge, it will assign a number, and that is basically the order of it. The numbers obviously restart back at 1, depending on the tab. It'll remember it, by the way, you can just leave the tab and come back to it later. And as soon as you click sort, it's gonna rearrange the numbers within these goals, right? Within these goals. So position 1 is actually going to go to where Iron Pick is. So Doctor's going to go where Iron Pick is. Bang. Doctor went up here. This is untouched. It's completely separate per tab. Obviously for the unlocks tab as well. And this is another step that is huge because you can now... It's just another functionality to the search now. If I search in between the advancements and, I don't know, say FO, I don't know what comes up here, I can now rearrange within the search and hit sort, and it rearranged within the search. And this is just huge. Obviously, you can go in and out of the search. It's gonna fully work. And also this badge would get wider if, you know, if this number has like 2 characters, 3 characters, whatever. Oh, might quickly show that. Should get wider. Yeah, you can see the 10 one is now a little wider than the rest. So it's all dynamic. Obviously, you have the same thing for like the criteria. You can still like click here, reorder like that. That's never gonna change. But you also have the badge sorting now, which is awesome. I'm still working on, and that's one of the final things that I think will make this more or less complete. Still working on a way where you can shift or control click these badges. And if you shift click, it's gonna range select a group. Like if you were in like the file explorer, if you click here, like if you shift click here and then shift click here, it would range select everything and it will display like a 0 or a star or something. And then you can drag and drop the entire group around. Because that's still something that is missing to rearrange like bigger parts. And if you control click, it will go into like the same mode, but not range select. Alright, that's kind of what I've planned with the badges. So they will be very functional and super strong. Obviously, if you do the range selection stuff, you won't be able to sort because it's like a different mode. Very nice. Very nice. And that should wrap up everything for the snapshot. Obviously, donations and everything are always appreciated. We have the different installers. So there's a lot of files here now. You can obviously use Archline, Linux, NixOS. NixOS support is also in. I don't know if I ever mentioned this, but Advancedly is becoming very universal. Very universal. One thing I also changed that might be slightly more subtle. If you click here now, it will get you to the getting started page. It's been a bit when I changed this, but still, I've never mentioned it properly. We also have this video, guys. That's, by the way, this video today. This part of the stream will also be linked where the ordering is mentioned, because I found that very important to mention now. And you can see we have these different packages that are right from the download, but you can also use Arch Linux as well as NixOS. Massive shout out to Uku, who has done a lot of MCSR related porting over to NixOS. Super huge. Installation instructions here. So I'm getting help from a lot of people, and we're getting pretty far because we have like a couple different Linux distributions now. Obviously macOS Universal, that works fully through the command line. You have the Linux as a portable, you have the macOS as a portable, and you have Windows as a portable, obviously. And it's pretty huge. It's pretty huge. So giving people a lot of reason to use the tracker. Anyways, thank you guys for listening to my small little presentation here. Let's get into the game. And obviously tomorrow, as the title says, we will I'm going to start at the normal time because we'll have 3 hours to wait for Thunder as well in the floating island.